Okay, so Joel Embiid is served a 3-game suspension with an incident that he had with a media personality. This media personality wrote a scathing article about Joel Embiid and included Joel Embiid's son and his brother, who passed. And he also wrote an article about Joel Embiid can be healthy enough to compete in the Olympics, but don't want to do back-to-backs, and he have missed a lot of games. All right. And Joel Embiid was very upset about it. I can understand why he's upset at the fact that this columnist included his brother and his his child. I get that part because they have nothing to do with your hatred towards Joel Embiid. Obviously, this columnist is a huge fan of the Philadelphia 76ers. I know people are gonna make excuses for him, saying, well, he's doing his job. So before I get into it, I first like to state this before I get into it. There are no innocent parties between Joel Embiid and this columnist. I think they are both guilty. They're both wrong. They both made mistakes. And this is a classic example of when you let your emotion lead, when you allow your emotions to get the best of you. All right. And you're not going to understand the columnist, with the situation with Joel Embiid missing a lot of games. With Paul George, the Philadelphia 76ers are struggling, and they need Joel Embiid now more than ever on the court. And I get his perspective, but to add his son and add his brother is just that's just way, you're going completely over bounds. All right. And Joel Embiid, understand that he included that, but that doesn't give you the right to get into a physical altercation. Now, even though he pushed him, he shoved him. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, it wasn't really a fight and this, that. Anytime you put your hands on anybody, all right, that's an altercation. Okay. That's the context of an altercation. All right. So, to Joel Embiid, I feel like Joel Embiid is wrong because of that, and as well as, Joel Embiid had a history of dogging Ben Simmons. Do anyone remember Ben Simmons? And one of his major complaints about Ben Simmons is he just did not show up. He missed a lot of games on court. He would always be injured, and when it was stressing him out, he continued to miss games, and that bothered Joel Embiid. His availability bothered Joel Embiid to the point where Joel Embiid even commented about it, and they got Ben Simmons up out of there. Now, you can't get mad at one player, Joel Embiid, that's missing a lot of games when you miss a lot of games. And at that particular time, Joel Embiid was missing games. Now, he wasn't missing games on an alarming rate like he is currently right now, but Joel Embiid was missing games himself when he was teammates of Ben Simmons. And I just thought that, well, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, you're missing games as well, and you're getting upset at a player missing games. Now, fast forward to now, and this is the prime example of, I think the NBA is going soft on these players. We got a commissioner that is very friendly to the players, and respect players, having their brands. I don't have nothing against a player that wants to be an entrepreneur outside the court, that appreciates his brand and things of that nature, doing podcasting and things of that nature. I have no issue with that. But my problem with the players is the commissioner is allowing these players to not work, to make excuses on why they shouldn't work back-to-backs. And it started with Greg Popovich and the Spurs. LeBron James took it to another level. And now everybody all of a sudden don't want to play back-to-back. Now all the players don't even want to play 82 games. Okay? And with the advancement of technology and medicine, there are more advances in technology and medicine than ever, like since the 90s. Now, since we got all these advancements, now all these NBA players don't want to play 82 games. All right? If 82 games worked in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and in the 2000s, I don't understand why it cannot work today. All right? So I have a huge issue with players always making excuses on why they shouldn't play back-to-backs, and they make a gang of excuses on why they shouldn't play back-to-backs. And I feel like the commissioner should have already nipped this in the butt, but he wants to be a friend to the players, but also be a friend to the owners. I think we need a more strict commissioner that's looking at the NBA and the NBA Shield and the NBA brand first. This is why the TV ratings are down. Even though they got their TV deal and things of that nature, the ratings are down because the stars don't want to play. All right? And this is going to hurt later on down the road. Not in the next 5 years, not in the next 10 years, but you're going to see a trend. If this trend continues, this will not bode well with the NBA. They need to, the commissioner needs to get some icy hot and man up, or we need a new commissioner. It's just simple as that. All right. As to the columnists, I have a huge issue with columnists like this, or the Skip, and people say they have issues with Skip Bayless when you get way too personal with the players. When you have and it's always the columnist or the media personality that invested all their time and emotion on a certain team and on a certain player, and when they're not, and when they put their stamp on this team or their stamp on this player, and they're not performing with the capabilities they should be performing, and they put their neck out on the line, you get, columnists and personalities that go, that it takes it too far when being critical of a certain team or a certain player. This should not be tolerated. Joel Embiid should miss 3 games, and this columnist should miss 3 games as well. I mean, I'm whatever the punishment fits for, there's two people can start an argument. 2 people can start a disruption. And these 2 individuals are guilty. If Joel Embiid should miss 3 games, this columnist should miss 3 games. All right? It's time to grow up. It's time to be professionals. And just because you have an issue with how someone treats their job or the lack of respect of their job does not give you the right to be critical of their family, or to be critical of their kids or their wives or anything like that. That's when you're going over bounds. That's out of bounds to me. But I wanted to comment on it, give you guys my thoughts and opinions about it. I think the punishment does fit the crime. Joel Embiid should, and at the end of the day, Joel Embiid is not healthy enough to play anyway. So these 3 games are not going to be nothing to Joel Embiid. And even if the columnist missed 3 games, that's not a huge L for the columnist. All right? I'm pretty sure he would like to miss 3 games of the Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George is not there. Joel Embiid is not there. And they're struggling. Now, Maxine, he's going to be out. So that'd be great for that columnist as well. It'd be like a little vacation or PTO or whatever. Okay, that's how they were treated. I just want these guys to learn, and we're going to have to work together. Just because someone has an issue with your work ethic doesn't mean you should go out of bounds and talk about someone's family or dead relatives. I mean, that's a huge no. That is the ultimate form of disrespect. But definitely, Joel Embiid should not put his hands on this individual. All right? And I really do think that this is going, if they don't nip this in the butt fast, I think this will escalate with Joel Embiid asking to be traded out of the Philadelphia 76ers. And if Joel Embiid is traded from the Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers are not going to be very competitive for a very, very long time. So the money that they spent on Paul George will be for nothing. Maxine, that will be for nothing. So, yeah. They need to nip this in the butt real fast and quick. But the commissioner definitely needs to nip this this mindset of I don't want to work, I don't want to play back-to-backs. Okay? So he needs to nip that definitely in the butt. All right? Maybe it should be a clause in your contract where you have to work a certain. I'm pretty sure they have it, but they need to enforce that or make that penalty even heavy when it comes to their bottom line. But these NBA superstars, they make money outside of basketball. So if they have to pay a huge fine where they get less on their NBA contract, it's not a hill of beans to them because they're making millions upon millions of dollars, outside of the NBA contract. Okay. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.